Ambassador Zexathul adjusted his crystalline breathing apparatus as the human delegation entered the Grand Assembly chamber. For 3,000 cycles, the Galactic Concordat had maintained perfect peace across 47 star systems. Not a single act of violence had been recorded since the signing of the Sacred Accords. The very concept had been purged from civilized society. "Welcome, representatives of Sol 3, Zexthul announced, his melodic voice resonating through the chamber's bioacoustic walls. "We gather today to formally induct your species into our peaceful union." Captain Sarah Chen stepped forward, her military bearing unmistakable despite the diplomatic setting. Behind her stood Commander Rodriguez and Dr. Patel, both maintaining the rigid posture that seemed inherent to their kind. The assembled delegates from various worlds observed with curiosity. These newcomers carried themselves differently than any species they had encountered. "We're honored by your invitation," Chen replied, though something in her tone suggested reservation. "However, we need to discuss certain complications regarding our integration." High Counselor Veltar of the Ethereal Collective leaned forward, his gaseous form shimmering with confusion. "Complications? The process is quite straightforward. You simply agree to the fundamental principle of our society, the complete rejection of violence in all its forms." Chen exchanged glances with her team. "That's the problem. Humans have a concept that your translators seem unable to process. We call it war." A ripple of confusion swept through the chamber. Universal translators hummed and clicked, struggling with the foreign term. The word seemed to hang in the air like a toxic cloud, incomprehensible yet somehow threatening. "War," repeated Zexthul slowly, tasting the alien syllable. "Our linguistic matrices cannot provide adequate translation. Perhaps you could explain this concept." Dr. Patel stepped forward, clearing her throat. "War is organized conflict between groups, typically involving violence and the deliberate attempt to harm or destroy one's opponents to achieve political, economic, or territorial objectives." The silence that followed was deafening. Several delegates' bioluminescent organs flickered in distress. The crystalline hive mind's representative actually cracked, a hairline fracture appearing across their torso. "Impossible," whispered Counselor Melandra of the Peaceful Dominion. "Such behavior was eliminated from our evolutionary paths eons ago. How could an intelligent species develop such aberrant behavior?" Commander Rodriguez spoke up, his voice carrying the weight of experience. "Because sometimes the only way to protect what you love is to fight for it. We learned that lesson the hard way over millennia of conflict." "But why?" asked Zexthul, his confusion genuine. "Why choose harm when cooperation yields better results?" Chen activated her personal display, showing historical footage from Earth. "Because not everyone chooses cooperation. Sometimes you encounter those who would take everything from you, your freedom, your family, your very existence, simply because they can." "What do you do then?" The footage showed scenes alien to the peaceful delegates, armies clashing, cities under siege, desperate last stands against overwhelming odds. But it also showed something else, humans protecting the innocent, sacrificing themselves for strangers, refusing to surrender even when defeat seemed certain. "This is horrific," gasped the representative from the Harmony Worlds. "How did your species survive such brutality?" "By becoming better at it than anyone else," Chen replied bluntly. "But also by learning when to stop. War taught us the value of peace, but it also taught us the price of weakness." The chamber erupted in alarmed chatter. The Concordat had never encountered a species that not only practiced violence, but had refined it into an art form. Their peaceful civilization suddenly felt fragile, exposed. High Counselor Veltar's form darkened with concern. "If you cannot abandon these violent tendencies, then perhaps membership in our Concordat is impossible. We cannot risk contamination of our peaceful society." "With respect," Dr. Patel interjected, "you might want to reconsider that position. 3 days ago, our deep space monitors detected an armada of unknown ships massing at the edge of your territory. They're not responding to diplomatic channels." The blood drained from Zexthul's features. "Impossible. There are no hostile species in this galaxy. The Concordat has ensured universal peace." Chen's smile was grim. "In your part of the galaxy, maybe. But space is vast and not everyone shares your peaceful philosophy. These ships are broadcasting what our linguists recognize as conquest demands in 17 different languages. They're coming for your worlds, your resources, your people. But But what can we do? Veltar's gaseous form was practically transparent with fear. We have no weapons, no defenses, no concept of resistance. 3 millennia of peace have made us helpless. You have us, Rodriguez said simply. Humans know war. We know how to fight, how to protect, how to win. But more importantly, we know how to end conflicts so they stay ended. The chamber fell silent as the peaceful species contemplated their impossible situation. They faced an enemy they couldn't understand, wielding concepts they had deliberately forgotten. Their perfect peace had made them vulnerable to those who never shared their ideals. Zexthul looked at the human delegation with new eyes. You would fight for us? For strangers? That's what humans do, Chen replied. We fight for those who can't fight for themselves. It's not pretty and it's not peaceful, but sometimes it's necessary. The vote was swift and unanimous. Humanity was granted emergency membership in the Galactic Concordat, along with complete military authority to defend against the approaching threat. As the human ships deployed to the outer rim, their weapon systems active and crews ready for battle, the peaceful species watched in fascination and horror. They were witnessing something that hadn't existed in their corner of the galaxy for 3,000 years. Warriors preparing for war. The stars had rules against violence. But sometimes those who would destroy everything you hold dear don't care about rules. And sometimes the only answer to unreasonable force is superior force wielded by those who understand both its power and its cost. The humans had brought war to the stars, and for the first time in millennia, the peaceful civilizations felt truly safe.